What are the top digital advertising platforms and how do they rank up against one another? In this video, we're going to do a digital advertising tier list, taking all of the top digital platforms that you can leverage to grow and scale your online business and comparing and contrasting them and ranking them in this tier list. Now, if you're new around here, my name is Blake Bauer and I run a digital advertising agency that helps D2C and B2B businesses dominate digital advertising. Now, if you'd like our help to actually run digital advertising for your business to help you grow and scale, you can find a link to that in the description below to apply to work with me. You can check out my socials as well, where I'm constantly sharing new content related to digital marketing and digital advertising to help grow and scale businesses online. Now, before we jump into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the newest content to help grow and scale your business. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. The video that everybody has been waiting for, it's the top digital advertising tier list. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Starting out with Amazon, a heavy hitter and one that I think everybody is aware of. Amazon is absolutely crushing it. Everybody shops on Amazon. Everybody loves Amazon. How fast they are for shipping. If your products are not on Amazon yet, you're missing out on a lot of sales. And so for that reason, Amazon, honestly, there is some drawbacks though. So the fact that Amazon has so many customers on their platform and how much people use Amazon, I think puts it in a really high caliber. But there is some drawbacks to using Amazon. If you're a business that has their products on Amazon, Amazon takes a lot of cut on your products, and it also charges you for advertising. And so for that reason, I don't consider it S tier, but I would consider it A tier, because I think it is, Amazon is really just going to crush sales for you. It's going to get you a ton of volume. But again, the margins on that, because of advertising costs and Amazon's fees, it makes it less economical, and I can't really bump it up into that S tier quality to completely scale your business. But I think it's a solid A, and I'll feel confident with that. So let's move on here to Bing Ads. Now, Bing Ads are pretty solid overall, and definitely the biggest rival of Google. And Google Ads, it's another search platform. However, I think the most obvious problem with Bing Ads is that just not that many people use Bing. I mean, I don't use Bing. You probably don't use Bing. You probably use Google, and if you don't use Google, you're probably one of those guys who doesn't like to be tracked. Maybe you're using like Brave or whatever the other ones are, like Safari on Apple, or like Aurora. Yeah, I'm kind of blanking on some of the other ones, but there's a ton of platforms out there like DuckDuckGo. And so Bing Ads, I think really struggles in terms of the volume. They just don't have as many people searching on there. And so there's not as many people to target and see results for. And so, yeah, it's really not going to grow your business quite the same way that Google will, just because Google has so much more volume on there and is able to reach your customers a lot more ideally. And then you factor in YouTube ads on Google, display ads, and again, just all the volume that they have, all the different options that you have. Yeah, Bing just really doesn't measure up. And so for that reason, the positives of Bing though is, it is less competition. You can still see great results because there's still people who use Bing, pretty religiously, and it's a little, less saturated on there. So I'd say overall Bing is a solid, I'm going to put it B tier. I think it's still a really good platform. If you're looking, crushing it with Google Ad search and you're wanting to expand out and test another platform, I think you can still see great results. And honestly, Bing's conversion rate is, I think, a little bit higher than Google's. So if you can allocate some budget there, I think you're going to see a good return. Next is Google. Pretty self-explanatory, easy S tier. Google is the OG, one of the top platforms, and it's just been killing it in the game overall. Not to mention they have just excellent support. Let's just do that first and foremost, because Meta, and Facebook, I'm just gonna talk smack about that quick. Their support is really, really trash. Which is, one of my biggest pet peeves with Meta is they really don't help their customers and their advertisers, and really don't like the platform overall. They're not really promoting a good platform experience anymore. It just seems like they're maximizing profits, and I'm not all about that. But aside from that, Google is an amazing platform for search. They make everything really easy to get going. Really easy for your business, and you can get really, really great results with it. And I recommend it for pretty much every single business to be using Google. You can definitely see an ROI with it. And so an easy S tier from Google. I think display could be better, but their search platform is definitely where they shine the most, but their display platform is definitely still pretty solid. Next is LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn ads, if you've ever run any LinkedIn ads, can't say I recommend it. It's very hard to get working. Now, I'm not a LinkedIn ad specialist, personally, and there are some agencies and businesses out there that specialize in LinkedIn ads. However, what I do know is that the cost per click is insanely high, probably because of, it's businesses targeting, business leaders and people that are, putting their business profile out there. And so it's definitely really easy to find your ideal target audience if you're like B2B and you have a really specific customer persona. But unless you're B2B, if you're D2C, LinkedIn is not the platform. It's really, really expensive. And even for B2B, it's honestly really expensive and hard to make work. However, I do know people, that do make it work. But yeah, I think they just charge, too much for the CPMs and the cost per clicks and everything. So for that reason, LinkedIn, I'm going to put at C tier. I think it could be improved overall, even in their targeting, and just everything in the back end, I think could be organized a little bit better and more fleshed out and developed to actually drive results for their advertising customers. And I just think it's just a lacking platform overall. But again, not to say that you can't get amazing results with it. There's tons of people who have. Next is Meta. So despite my spiel on how I don't like Meta, it is still the OG platform, and it has to be S tier. It still gets you amazing results. It's definitely is actually the best platform for acquiring new customers for any D2C brand, and especially just for reach and actually getting you results as far as what conversions you're looking for, right? If you're looking for conversions and reaching new customers and new audiences and getting purchases, Meta is set up for that. Its pixel is still really, really easy to use. It integrates extremely well with things like Shopify and Squarespace and other websites like that. It has good audiences still. It definitely lost out on some of that in iOS 14, but it still has a really good foundation and is just able to drive great results for any business if you know how to use it properly. Despite some of my woes with Instagram and Facebook as a social platform overall, I'm not really a big fan of it anymore. And their lackluster support. As far as an advertising platform goes, Meta is still the OG. And these two, if you're looking for where to spend your ad dollars, look, we recommend using Google and Meta. There's benefits to both and they're both different. And so you really should be using both. Meta as your main customer acquisition, new audience, brand awareness, top of funnel acquisition campaign, and Google more as a bottom of funnel, still new acquisition, but retention and low kind of hanging fruit on keywords, things like that. So these two together can be really, really strong. And so for any D2C brand that has a website, maybe you're not on Amazon, would recommend these two very, very strongly. Both S tier, both amazing. Let's move on to Outbrain, maybe one you haven't heard of, but it's a programmatic one, which essentially means it's like Google Display Ads. It runs on different display networks, and you can target audiences and do kind of the same thing that most ad platforms do. Personally, not much to say there. It does its job. You can add ads there. You can run display. Just in general, display I find isn't the best at getting conversions and really driving results for your business. You get a ton of impressions though. You can get a ton of clicks, but the quality of those clicks and traffic really isn't quite there. And so I wouldn't really recommend it. I'm going to put Outbrain at D tier, honestly. I just don't think it makes sense for most businesses unless, maybe you have some type of unique offer and that converts really well and, you can take advantage of the cheaper CPMs. It could be worthwhile, but we haven't really seen it to do anything really, really great or substantial with any of the brands that we work with. I'd rather take that budget and allocate it to Meta or Google, to be honest. Next is Pinterest. Pinterest is an interesting one. I really like Pinterest, and if your business bodes well to the audiences that are on Pinterest and like to share pins, and you personally like to use Pinterest and know what kind of audiences are on there and how to run good Pinterest ads, I would definitely recommend it for your business. However, me personally and the brands that we work with, aren't big Pinterest brands. I'm not a big Pinterest guy, so I personally don't really know how it works exactly, but you can still see amazing results on there, and they have really good cost per clicks. They have good audience targeting. They have, a really good back end where you can, track the metrics. And yeah, just overall really simple and easy to use. They have a business manager set up so you can actually, easily manage it as an agency as well. I just think as far as Meta goes, it's not quite fully fleshed out to really optimize your ads and reach your audience and get you sales quite like Meta is when you optimize for conversions. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it's still solid, but again, I would rather deploy my ad dollars at other platforms, but it could be a left field play that could work really well for your business. Again, if your business bodes well to being on Pinterest and you have a good Pinterest following, let's say, and a lot of content there. Next is Snapchat. Pretty similar along the lines of Pinterest. I like Snapchat because it's a little more left field. I think you can do really well if you're more specialized in Pinterest, in Snapchat, and you really know, what type of creatives to use. Some more vertical portrait style creatives that have some nice video elements that encourage the swipe up, and you can do some unique things with targeting. I've seen a lot of brands really crush it with Snapchat, but it's one of those ones that it's not for every brand. You do have to have some really unique content and well fleshed out content to be able to develop content for Snapchat, test new content, and just get ads going in general that convert. And so it's very specialized and not really applicable to any business like Google and Meta. And so for that reason, I'm going to also put this at B tier. I think it's a really solid platform. You see really great results for that, especially if you're a D2C business. The CPMs aren't crazy, the cost per clicks are pretty good, but again, just requires more specialized content and investment into that particular platform. But if you do get some nice credit if you create a new TikTok account or Snapchat account, and you can get a nice little free kind of kick to start your ads and kind of get some traction with that. Next is Taboola. Taboola is very similar to Outbrain, but it's a little bit more fleshed out. They have a little bit more experience in that regard, and so their algorithm is a little bit more refined. It can actually get you conversions and things that you are optimizing for and set your objective for your campaigns. But yeah, it's still programmatic, still display, cheap cost per clicks, cheap CPMs, but doesn't do as good of a job as Meta and Google. And really, I can't see it being the same tier as Bing, Pinterest, or Snapchat. So for that reason, I'm going to put it with LinkedIn at about C tier. Next is TikTok ads. So a new one on the scene, and it's got a lot of attention, obviously. TikTok is blown up, and so there's a lot of people on TikTok, and there's more people joining TikTok all the time, which means the CPMs can be low. And yeah, you got to create TikToks, right? Not ads, as they say. TikTok is a really solid platform overall. We've seen good results with it. Again, it bodes itself a lot to your investment into TikTok and vertical content in general. So you need to make TikToks. If you have TikToks and TikTok content for your business, it could work really well for your business. You can see really cheap CPMs, really cheap cost per clicks, but still we've run some ads for businesses and we didn't see that much of a difference in terms of the cost per clicks. A little bit cheaper than Meta, but the conversions really just weren't there. So in general, TikTok is algorithmically not as fleshed out as Meta at being able to take your conversion objective, say sales, and actually put your ads in front of people that it knows are close to conversion and will convert for your business. I find you can just blow more money on TikTok, but again, definitely business dependent and definitely worth testing for your business, because you can absolutely crush it on TikTok and scale to hundreds of thousands, millions for your business, and grow your business exponentially with TikTok. But it just requires more investment. It's not as plug and play. It's not applicable to every business, and so for that reason, I'm going to put it at A tier. I don't know if it's definitely below Amazon, but it's still a really good platform and really new. And I think if they can flesh out their algorithm similar to Meta and really get that AI working so that they can really effectively target your business, I think TikTok could do really well, especially with more businesses investing into the more portrait style, TikTok style content for shorts, for Instagram, and repurposing that and kind of fleshing that out more. If you have the content capacity and the videos to test, I think it works really well. And this is just for paid ads. Organic, TikTok is definitely S tier. TikTok is the best for organic, organic growth. But for ads specifically, I'm gonna put it at A tier for now. Could even be B, but I'm gonna leave it at A. Next, we have Twitter ads. Been testing with Twitter ads a little bit lately for some of our clients, but Twitter isn't one of those platforms, again, that is super fleshed out like Meta, where it really has a dial on where consumers are at and if they're going to convert. You can still select your campaign objective if you want traffic, if you want conversions, leads, etc. However, TikTok, cheaper CPMs, again, cheaper cost per clicks, but it's not able to get you the results quite like Meta or Google. And so it's just not as an effective platform. Again, if you have a big Twitter presence though, it might make sense for your business to actually advertise on Twitter, to take advantage of the audience you've built there and get people to check out your profile and kind of get them into a profile funnel where they can learn more about your business and then convert. If you don't have a Twitter presence, wouldn't recommend Twitter ads, but they can actually do still well. And I would recommend, diverting some budget and potentially testing it out for your business. Similar to Pinterest and Snapchat, to be honest. So I'm gonna put it at B tier. And lastly, we have YouTube ads. I'm personally a big fan of YouTube in general. So I like YouTube ads because I like YouTube and I know how YouTube works, and I know how YouTube ads work as well, because I've seen some good YouTube ads that have made me convert and made me visit the landing page and go through the VSL or the funnel and ultimately buy something, right? So YouTube definitely works, but again, the only problem with it is it does require more investment into actually content development and long form content development, and it's not the same as, you know, Meta, where you can run, you know, a square image that's very sales focused. YouTube does require a little bit more refinement, a little more professionalism, and if you really want to get an ad that's converting, you do have to do a lot of different tweaks with your advertising and really test a lot of different things, and especially with the audience targeting as well. It doesn't lend itself as much to conversions, and it's just a lot harder in general to, I would say, get Google ads or YouTube ads really converting and scaling. But with that being said, it's definitely possible. There are some agencies out there, there's some companies out there, and some people out there that's specializing in YouTube ads because it has so much potential. And I think it's honestly untapped still a little bit and underutilized, because it's difficult, again, to make the content that really converts well on YouTube. So YouTube is a really great platform overall. And as the last one here, I'm gonna put that at A tier as well. Really, really solid platform. Can do extremely well, again, if you have the content. And in general, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Google and you have a YouTube account and a YouTube following, similar to the other recommendations here with these other accounts, if you have a YouTube following and good YouTube videos, I would recommend you invest some of your ad dollars into YouTube to then get people checking out your YouTube channel. They don't necessarily need to convert, but if you can get them to follow you, to watch some of your other content, you can kind of get them into that profile funnel that can then feed down into, you know, your Google ads, into your Meta. And, you know, the customer journey really isn't unidimensional, right? So they're not going to come just from YouTube, make a purchase. They're typically going to go, you know, YouTube, maybe go to Google, maybe go to Twitter, see you guys, maybe go on Instagram, see you guys, maybe go to Amazon and then buy from you or to your website, right? So it's pretty multidimensional. So you want to, in general, leverage a couple different platforms, at least for organic. But again, if you're just, you know, tight for budget and just kind of want to get the most bang for your buck, Meta and Google are the way to go. Some of these other platforms, again, then you can expand into later on. So that was the tier list, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. So that was the entire tier list. Let me know what you guys thought, and if you would have ranked things a little bit differently in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my newest content. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.